For months, no one listened to their stories until this. Secretly filmed pictures of a brick factory and a bleak world of child labour and of casual brutality. No one is here willingly, no one here is paid a wage, and they are worked to the point of exhaustion. These brick factories were less places of work than places of sustained torture, and those imprisoned here talk of working from dawn to midnight, of meagre rations of bread and water, and of regular beatings.
A lot of brick factories producing hundreds of thousands of bricks to feed the growing industry every single month. People who work here are often those with limited career choices, and they start working at a very, very young age, sometimes as young as 5 years old. A lot of children have to help their families earn money, but that also means they cannot go to school, and they have to be exposed to a very harmful environment.
Arvind is 11 years old and works here from dawn to dusk. So does his 13-year-old sister Sangeeta. After the death of their father a few years ago, the siblings became their family's breadwinners.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Capitalism YouTube video topic. Today I want to do the pure evil files of the brick industry and the brick making industry files. Deep dive, capitalism, child labor, animal abuse, true crime, etc. So let's get started into this YouTube video topic. But before we get started, all my YouTube videos that are related to this topic will be on the screen right now, and if I have room, it'll also be in the YouTube description down below for more. So if you like this video, then let's get started into this YouTube video topic. Inside Pakistan's brick kilns, where millions are trapped in modern-day debt slavery, capitalism slavery, working dangerous jobs to pay off snowballing debts. In Pakistan, families are forced to make over 1,500 bricks a day to repay loans from kiln owners. This is a form of debt bondage, aka capitalism slavery. They are not told how much they owe, how long they must work, or how much interest is being attached to the loans. These victims of capitalism face brutal working conditions, including temperatures that can reach upwards of 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Around 150 families work every single day to hand over their quota of 1,500 bricks to kiln owners in Pakistan. They make around $1.50 a day and are told another $1.50 goes towards their debt. However, there is no set contracts or conditions to these debt agreements. One victim of capitalism, Poonjo, believes that he still owes about $560 from a loan he borrowed years ago to pay hospital medical bills. In the process of making bricks, it is laborious and physically exhausting. First, one must accumulate enough dirt to mix the water. Then mud is kneaded until it becomes clay. Donkeys are used for transport. Nearly 5,000 bricks from the plots to the fire kiln every day. Workers stack the bricks in underground ovens where they bake for days on end, usually over a month. The kilns are estimated to reach nearly 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The kilns are covered with sand and gaps are filled with wood. Kiln workers risk their lives every single day with the threat of cave-ins. Once the bricks are fully prepared and done, construction sites use them for everything from building material, building houses, to supporting bridges and canals. There are approximately 20,000 of these brick kilns in Pakistan and over 100,000 across South Asia alone, and in some cities they account for 91% of pollution in areas. In addition to the extreme heat, breathing in toxic dust and exposure to carbon monoxide and sulfur can result in unalivings and death, especially among children. Child labor, which is illegal in Pakistan, runs rampant basically everywhere. Child labor is a capitalism atrocity. It is estimated that 1 in 3 workers at brick kilns are underage. and in some kilns, more than half are under 10 years old. What is happening in the brick kilns falls under the legal definition of debt bondage, which is outlawed in Pakistan's constitution in 1992. But that doesn't really matter because pretty much in most countries, they don't even follow their own laws and decide to put capitalism profits over human lives on a daily basis. And the police watchdogs are the capitalist pigs watchdogs and just look the other way and turn a blind eye to it because the police only serve capitalism interests. There is so much oppression, they wouldn't pay wages. They would lock us up in the kiln owner's office and beat us up, recalled Poonjo Meghwar, an Assad Niger resident who has been freed from debt bondage for over 20 years. He still faces threats to this very day from kiln owners and was attacked during a workers' rights protest in 2013. And it's not just in Pakistan either. This happens all over the world, such as in India as well, in Cambodia. When Rijesh Vandar borrowed $300 from a contractor for his sister's wedding, it was the beginning of a long nightmare. To pay it all back, he and his family traveled some 1,000 kilometers from the impoverished northern India state of Uttar Pradesh to work in the brick kiln in the wealthy western state of Gujarat. They would beat me day and night, he says. One of the kiln managers did. I have worked as a laborer on many farms for many years, but this is the first time I was actually beaten. His wife, 3 young children under the age of 10, and his aging father all work at the kiln, yet he was the only one who was officially employed and paid. He is one of approximately 25 million people working in over 100 brick kilns across India alone. According to figures quoted by Anti-Slavery International, an estimated 50,000 of those people are thought to be working in slavery-like capitalism conditions. The organization, which focuses on promoting worker welfare across several key informal worker groups in India, says violence in brick kilns ranges from verbal abuse to beatings to rape. Over the past decade, India has seen a real estate boom. As a result, red bricks for construction are high in demand. In 2013 study by Global Construction Perspectives, a construction infrastructure-based think tank, and the Oxford Economics Advisory firm predicted that by 2030, India, which is already one of the world's biggest construction markets, will be worth $1 trillion a year. However, behind the glossy facade of economic progress lies a capitalism industry largely built on the backs of cheap labor and slavery. As a result, Indian brick kilns have earned a notorious reputation as sites of extreme exploitation. Just like I did a YouTube video about the Italian tomato mafia and another YouTube video about the carpet mafia, the brick industry has their own mafia called the kiln mafia. Often brick kilns hire muscle men to prevent laborers from leaving. It is almost like a mafia operation. They take away any jewelry the woman have, and if the husband has to leave the kiln for a trip back home, they will hold the wife back as security. They'll also have the muscle men staring at the laborers, intimidating them in a different way. Philip himself was beaten up by a brick kiln while on the rescue operation, even though he was accompanied by labor officials and police officers. One gets the sense that the kilns have these officials on a payroll and paid off. When we receive a complaint from workers through helplines or unions, the authorities refuse to act promptly, he says. Often there are about 100 people living in small rooms built out of the bricks they made themselves. Open defecation in public is common, with a large number of workers, both male and female, sharing a single hole in the ground for the purpose, due to which illnesses are also very common. Women working in brick kilns are invisible because their labor is not taken into account, and payments are only made against the husband's production, despite the fact that human rights NGOs say that women make up half of the workforce. According to official records from both the government and brick industry, there are no women working in India's brick industry. After working at the kiln for 8 months, the Yadavs have paid off the advance they had borrowed. However, the kiln owners still refuse to let them go. When this family protested, the kin owner held the family as prisoners. They wouldn't let them go. They wouldn't let them work either, leaving them without any money to buy food. This is what Yadav claims was not just to punish them for asking to be relieved of their duties, but to also intimidate the other workers. Eventually, he and his family were rescued with the help of Brick Kin Workers Union. Others who have clashed with the Brick Kin Mafia are forced to pay a heavier price. In 2014, 2 men who escaped while being forcibly taken to work in kins had their hands totally chopped off with a machete. There have also been some evidence to suggest that Brick kin workers, who are often desperately poor, illiterate, and vulnerable, are abused in other inhuman ways. One woman lost both her husband and her son 2 months after the family went to work at a brick kin. The Action Aid report says, the husband's body was outside the hospital, swollen with 2 long and suspicious cuts in the region of the stomach. The report continues, distraught and troubled by the allegations of passerby that her husband had fallen victim to trade in the black market of organ trafficking, and her son was gotten rid of for protesting. After many ordeals, they returned home. How climate change forces farmers into slavery in Cambodia's brick kins. Heat waves and drought have devastated crops in rural Cambodia, forcing many farmers to abandon the fields and farming and take up work in the country's brick industry. Another victim of this brick industry, Pela, a debt-bonded brick worker. The owners of the kin look to buy land from the in-debt farmers and in some areas, and then employ them as debt-bonded workers to excavate clay in the region. Another victim, Sir Mom, age 10, helps her parents by carrying fired bricks out of the kin. Children that grow up in the kins can also end up taking on their parents' debt when they reach adulthood. In this way, debt bondage on the kins becomes intergenerational. Many of the workers are religious, and brick kin owners take advantage of this, encouraging workers to pursue a good character by being vigilant. In some cases, the moral commitment is one of the key factors preventing these workers from simply walking away and fleeing the kin and abandoning their debts. Patricia cleans ash from a brick kiln. She has lived and worked on the site for more than 20 years, but still owes the kin factory £2,000. She has 2 small children, neither of whom attend school. One worker said, when I come of age, they told me to sign my thumbprint on the debt contract in place of my parents. My debts keep increasing now that I have a husband and children. In the future, my children will do the same, sign their thumbprints in my place. Pregnant women also face the appalling aspect and prospect of giving birth within the confines of this brick industry in which they work, where they endure extreme heat, dusty polluted air, and long relentless hours and back-breaking labor. The animals also used in this industry, such as the donkeys and mules I listed below. Animals collapse under the weight of the heavy loads on their backs after hours of excruciating, exhausting work in the baking sun, with limited access to water. Owners work their animals for long hours with heavy loads in an attempt to pay off these debts. This means many animals will suffer frequent illness and injury, including hoof problems, wounds from ill-fitting harnesses, and even death and unaliving through sheer exhaustion. The environmental toll the brick industry has on the environment and the pollution overall. Typically heated using coal, these kilns contribute to 20% of the world's black carbon emissions. Some 90% of this production is in China, India, Pakistan, Vietnam, and Bangladesh. Bricks making the process are major sources of air pollution and soil degradation. This is not only air pollution, soil pollution, and it is also degrading the health of people living around the brick kilns. During the dry season, When kilns are operational in Bangladesh, they contribute to 30 through 50% of the 2.5 micron particulate matter, PM2.5, in the air. The small particles, which the products are incomplete combustion, are absorbed deep in the lungs and lead to cardiovascular and respiratory diseases and unalivings and deaths. Wildlife in India is facing the threat from brick kilns in Tela village, which serves as a buffer zone and a corridor for animals of the national park. Besides, the presence of kiln leads to loss of forests and agricultural land. Naturalist Sanhandra Tyra, who has been active in the national park for over 2 decades, has earned the collector to take action against the brick kiln owners before a big damage to land and forest is caused there. In his petition, he alleges that the brick kilns, through a purely commercial venture, do not use commercial fuel, but firewood extracted from forests, on occasions in the form of timber and logging. I have seen the forest disappearing from the surrounding areas of the Tala village over the years, he points out. Adding to that, smoke billowing out of the brick kilns contains carbon monoxide, which is more harmful than carbon dioxide to both human and plant life. All fruit-bearing plants within the radius of this brick kiln see a major share of the crop. In the flowering season, bees and other insects stay away from the fruit-bearing trees because of the pollution from the brick industry due to the heat. Brick kilns rise in temperature of the surrounding areas by 3 to 5 degrees, and we all know how bad too much heat or too much cold is to bees, and it's one of the leading causes of bee extinction and bee threats to their survival. Wildlife Conservation Trust Director Anish Anarhad said the presence of brick kilns within the Tela village undoubtedly puts stress on the tigers in the area. The kilns also cause erosion, thereby negatively influencing the hydrology of the landscape.